Hello and welcome to ELL Plus. I'm Amanda Alexander.
And I'm Tom Bateman. In today's news, could crowdfunding save Lewisham's biggest community centre?
Triumph over adversity, the story of a group of Jewish boys who survived the Holocaust and came to live in Britain.
The best thing since sliced bread? A brewery in Hackney thinks it knows the answer.
Got too much junk in the trunk? How about going green at New Crafts Festival in Hackney?
Goldsmiths Community Centre has been at the heart of the Downham estate in Lewisham for nearly 80 years. But now the centre is reaching its capacity due to funding cuts. A new crowdfunding campaign is aiming to change that. Katy reports.
Based in the heart of Lewisham on the Downham estate, Goldsmiths Community Centre has been providing services to the community for almost 80 years. Cuts to local community funding over the years means what was once a buzzing hub for young and old now lies half unused. But a new crowdfunding campaign wants to change that.
We're fundraising because our building is our greatest asset. Once we can get the building functioning with up-to-date facilities that are attractive and useful to people, we will be able to continue to keep the centre open forever.
Broken fire doors, old-fashioned electrics and poor heating have rendered the facilities unusable.
This centre means the world to me. I'd love to see it back how it was. It's incredibly hard under austerity to imagine that happening. So we need to try and rally as much community spirit as we can and try and fundraise our money ourselves because we're not going to get it.
Lewisham Council, although supportive of the cause, are in discussions with the GCC to extend the lease, which would allow the centre to attract more funding and create more of a legacy.
So I started coming here when I was 3 to learn ballet. That's where the very first thing I learned in terms of dancing. And now I come and I teach here and see kids doing exactly the same thing that I did when I was 3 years old.
Community centre is in an area of high deprivation. There's a lot of young people, a lot of very young children, and also a very large proportion of elderly and ailing residents. And there's also a whole cross-section of diversity in terms of ethnic groups. If we don't have a community centre where these people can get together, you don't have a chance for communities to understand each other. And that, for me, is particularly the importance of the centre.
Can the GCC survive? Only time will tell whether the curtains won't close on this community space. Katy Bales, ELL Plus, Lewisham.
The Boys, Triumph Over Adversity is an exhibition to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. It is being held in Whitechapel and is a collection of photos of hundreds of children who survived the Holocaust and came to Britain. Nina Lecour reports.
It is more than 70 years since Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp was liberated. The Jewish Museum launched the memory quilts, which were made by the Boys, a group of children who survived the Holocaust and tried to build their future in the UK, where they settled in the aftermath of the war.
Who died when violence ruled the world and evil dwelt on earth. We remember those we knew and those whose very name is lost.
I think it's important to have something that people can remember because the generation that actually lived through that time are not going to be with us for much longer. So something like the quilts gives us a legacy that we can remember them by, and the quilts tell the stories once the people are no longer here.
Well, I think it's important that we try to learn the lessons of history so it enables us to not make the same mistakes again.
The Boys created the quilts to tell their stories in a very unique way. We met with Ross Curry, the curator at the Jewish Museum, who explained their importance.
The Boys, because they're all children, I think instantly is more emotive. People can really feel a kind of kinship with this child who was orphaned by horrendous events. But more than that, the quilts that we have here, which each were made by a boy or a girl, so by one of the Holocaust survivors and also their families, and they really tell a story, and it allows you to access that kind of individual story in a different way. If we don't have survivors able to speak to us anymore, these quilt squares are capable of speaking to us in a different way and telling those stories.
January 27th marks the Holocaust Memorial Day here in London and all over the UK. In South London, in Whitechapel, the boys' exhibition has been running and is going to end on January 29th. So exactly, what does this exhibition embody? The Jewish Museum displays 9 touring exhibitions. In Whitechapel, the Brady Arts Community Centre has been exhibiting the boys' triumph over adversity.
It's obviously good, any reminder to be anywhere, to be completely honest. I think there's probably a lot of people coming in and out of here that wouldn't be in a situation where they'd normally see things about it. So if you're at school or you're somewhere like that, then maybe you would see something. But on a day-to-day working life, you're not going to see so many memorials. So it's nice to be placed somewhere like this. Yeah.
Holocaust Memorial Day reminds us a tragic period of our history. It's an occasion to pay tribute to innocent people who didn't survive, but will never be forgotten. Nina Lecourt, ELL+.
A Hackney brewery has found a new way to make use of old bread by converting it to beer. Our reporter, Bouchto, went down there to find more.
This is usually one of the 24 million slices of bread that gets thrown away every year in the UK. Britons waste about 15 million tons of food, with bread on the top of the list. While sandwich makers, cafes and bakeries don't use the crust end of loaves, a freshly launched initiative reaches out for all the surplus crumbs. Brussels Beer Project inspired the collaboration of Hackney Brewery and the food waste charity Feedback.
What we do is we make the beer and we give it to the charity at cost. So, you know, all the ingredients are covered for, and then whatever they sell it on for, all the profits go straight to them because they're the ones selling it, and that's the way it works.
So the bigger that we as a company get, the better it will be for Feedback. But we also want to inspire home brewers to use bread, the surplus bread, in their home brews, and we've actually released a recipe that people can use for home brewing. And thirdly, we do want to inspire other people, other craft breweries and other breweries to think about doing something similar and become competitors of ours.
They gladly disclose their method to spread the model nationwide.
What we do is we take the bread, slice it up, dry it out, you then smash it up, chuck it in the mash tun, mash it in with the grains, and leave it as normal. Then it's the same as making beer any other way. You then boil it with some hops, chill it down, ferment it out with some yeast, and let it condition for however long it needs, and it's ready to go.
As the project aims to lower the environmental impact of food production, the brewery uses other pioneer solutions as well.
We also have a tank for cleaning water, so at the end of the day there's always a bit of excess water. Instead of it going down the drain, we use that into a tank so we can use it for cleaning. So say that saves about another ton of water a day saved. All of our malt goes to a farmer for animal feed. It's all certified, and the hops go for mulching in their fields.
The Bread to Beer project has come a long way from Brussels to Hackney and will hopefully conquer other cities. Through this journey, more and more people might raise their glasses for Hackney breweries and Feedback's new idea. Bouchto, ELL+.
We're taking a short break. When we come back, a new crafts festival in Hackney is promoting the use of old junk.
And later on in the programme, I will be reporting on the first cinema to open in Lewisham in 15 years.
Welcome back to ELL Plus News. Our top story today, Goldsmiths Community Centre in Lewisham has turned to crowdfunding in order to continue its services.
A craft-making event encouraging people to go green and reuse their junk took place for the first time last night at the Hackney Picture House. Jooyoon Kim has this report.
Tonight, Hackney's local cinema has a special event. This event is open for anyone who wants to make craft works. This month's theme is Go Green. Reuse, recycle and revamp is the motto for that. People bring their old clothes and junk to turn into craft works.
Every project we've got today is made through recycled materials. I think my favourite is the knitted t-shirts, because all you need is a t-shirt and 2 pencils. The pencils act as knitting needles, so it really goes to show you don't need any money to make anything. It's really showing how you can reuse and remake from basic materials but make really amazing things. The coasters, they look incredible. Just how cool recycling can be. It's not just using things in a basic way but in a creative way. So we've shown what you can do with the most basic of fabrics.
The event was themed Go Green, and it focused on reusing and recycling, with people using unwanted materials like fabrics, even old maps, to make chic accessories.
But it's a really good idea, and the lady's got some really good examples. I don't know if you've seen them, but with the coat and everything, that's really good. Yeah.
We take it partying, and all my friends are going to check it out, and I'm like, I made that. If I like recycling, I wish I'd bought something, but this is such a cool idea.
It's getting to reuse things that would just be shoved in a cupboard otherwise,
or even just thrown away, doing something different with them. That's really good.
And something that's pretty to put in your house as well.
Recycling is a big issue, not just for the country as a whole, but for individual householders. So, turning junk and unwanted items into art could be a very good way of going green. Jooyoon Kim, ELL Plus.
And now, with the latest news, here's Steve Choi.
Hi there. Prince Charles and Camilla visited Wootton's musical in Whitechapel this morning to see the repair work that's been done to the oldest surviving musical in the world. The Prince of Wales is patron of the musical. Today, he signed the official document to reopen the historic venue. The royal visit included performances by school students and a Victorian show. Commuters on Southeastern Railways had a difficult journey into work this morning. 20 trains to London were cancelled during the morning rush hour. Many of the trains go through stations in Lewisham. Travellers arrived at stations along the route to find trains cancelled, and some had to wait for up to 2 hours for the next train. Secondary Academy Riddlesdown Collegiate is planning to open a new primary free school in North Croydon in September 2018. At the moment, Riddlesdown Collegiate do not have a location for the school, but they're working with the council to identify potential sites. On Wednesday night, the 8th screening of the London Short Film Festival took place at Goldsmiths College. It is the biggest short film festival in the UK, and students had a chance to watch the nominated films on campus. I spoke to the director of the film festival, Philip Ilson.
Because the college approached the festival to screen some of the work to the students, so it's a good way of the students to see the work outside of the festival. Yeah, it's always important for students studying film and making films to see what other people are doing. People that make films should watch as much film as possible, whether that's feature films or short films, so yeah.
A new cinema is opening tomorrow at Goldsmiths, University of London. It's run by the art house chain Curzon and is ending Lewisham's 15-year stretch without a cinema. Earlier on, I spoke to our reporter Jasmin Dyer, who was at the cinema, and asked her how big of a deal this was for Lewisham's film fans.
It is a big deal. Ever since the Cannon Theatre in Catford shut down in 2001, Lewisham has been the only London borough without a full-time cinema. So this one here will be open on Monday evening through to Friday evening, and then all day over the weekends.
And what about the cinema itself? What can you tell us about it?
Well, it's recently been refurbished. It now seats 101 customers. It has a state-of-the-art sound and projection system, and it's also quite unusual. This is the first time a cinema chain and a university have worked together.
That's really interesting. So give us the details. When can we go and how much will it cost?
Well, at peak time for adults it will be £12, for students it will be £7 and for children £6. The theatre itself actually officially opens tomorrow evening with a preview of the Oscar-nominated The Revenant, but tonight there is a student-only exclusive showing of the German thriller Victoria.
Thanks for that, Jasmine. Now we've got Majd with the sports.
Well, it seems like nothing is going right these days for Crystal Palace Football Club. The Eagles have had a series of setbacks since the beginning of the new year. 4 losses, 12 goals conceded and only 2 scored. And it's getting worse and worse. 3 key players will miss out this week. Yannick Bolasie, Bakary Sakho and Connor Wickham. The FA has suspended Wickham for 3 games after an elbowing incident last Saturday against Tottenham. He has also been fined by his boss, Alan Pardew, who said that he will never tolerate this kind of behavior in his team. On the other hand, Yannick Bolasie and Bakary Sakho are suffering from different injuries. They will miss out at least until the end of February. I met a couple of Crystal Palace supporters this morning at Selhurst Park. Here's what they say.
I've been disappointed with the way that we've been playing. I don't think we've been playing to our full potential. I think we can play a lot better. You know, I think there's room for improvement. And I'm hoping that in the next few games we'll see that improvement and we'll get better.
The last month I've been disappointed at the Palace, particularly the Sunderland game where we were bullied out of the game. I think the game against Tottenham we played all right, they scored a wonderful goal, and we do need a striker. So I know that they have just signed Adebayor, and I hope he manages to put goals in for us.
The Togolese just signed a 6-month deal with the Eagles. Fans are looking forward to Saturday's game against Stoke City, and Yohan Cabaye and his teammates need a convincing victory to make it up with their supporters.
Tower Hamlets Council and Barts NHS Trust hosted a free healthy food festival to inform residents of the council's upcoming plans for the regeneration of Whitechapel. Jooyoon has more.
Tower Hamlets Council and Barts NHS Trust hosted the Nourish Whitechapel event at the Royal London Hospital in Whitechapel today. The event is to inform local residents of the council's regeneration plans for the Whitechapel area, while Barts NHS Trust focus was on healthy eating.
24 little hours.
The question here is about healthy eating and why is the council working in partnership with, in this case, the hospital. So the hospital has a huge impact in terms of the neighbouring borough and the residents, and one of the key drivers for the hospital is the health angle. So that's where we were looking at in partnership with the hospital. We're trying to see that what is our interest, what is their interest, and how can we work in partnership to deliver something better for the local residents as well as the wider community at large.
Excited to get involved because it was bringing the hospital into focus with local community in a really positive way, and it was bringing multiple partnerships together because the trust is made up of various organisations now, so it was really just about having that in a light where people could be seeing it in a friendlier, not just as a hospital appointment, but actually coming to the hospital as part of the community. So this kind of project enabled that.
Healthy options were provided by the various stallholders. Games were also on hand for those who wanted some fun.
The aim of this food festival is to introduce people to healthy and tasty food options, as well as to inform them about regeneration plans that are set to transform the area over the next 5 years.
So my favourite recommendations for today would be our detox cleanse, which is a really good green juice. It's with some spinach, kale, lemon, apple, cucumber and celery. And then also the banana berry smoothie, which is made with some mixed berries, so strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, some banana and a little bit of coconut milk.
Today we've got 2 healthy soups. We've got a Vietnamese-inspired fish noodle broth, all fresh ingredients. Base, the broth goes in there, and we're going to steam fresh cod, fresh salmon slivers. That's going to go in there. That's going to be £3 today, and that's going towards covering the cost of the event itself. And over here we've got a spicy butternut squash soup, which is loads of fresh vegetables, cream, cheese.
This event is part of the series of consultations that the council will have with local residents, and it is hoped that when building starts, everyone will be happy with the new changes. Jooyoon, ELL Plus, Whitechapel.
That's all for now. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.